Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Junior Coach Volunteer webinar. So we're basically going to talk about our nonprofit organization and how you can earn hours through us. Okay, so first we're going to briefly introduce ourselves, and then we'll talk about the PVSA, which is the President's Volunteer Service Award, and we're going to talk about how you can accumulate hours for this award. So we have two main methods, which the first one is going to be our one-on-one tutoring, which is going to be free for the students. And then our second way of earning hours we're going to talk about is going to be clubs. So when you are a tutor, you have a choice of doing one-on-one tutoring as well as doing clubs. All right, so I'm going to introduce myself very briefly. So my name is Amber, and I've been a junior coach tutor since December of 2020, so about 8 months now. And I've done both one-on-one tutoring with a bunch of students, and I've also designed two junior coach clubs.
Yeah, hello, my name is Nikki, and I've been part of Junior Coach as a tutor since May of 2020, and I'm currently their program manager, and I've received the President's Volunteer Service Award twice so far. So here's a little bit about the President's Volunteer Service Award. So this is basically a chart that just shows the age group you have to be in, and then how many hours you have to accumulate to get a bronze, silver, or a gold medal. So as you can see, the teens is 11 to 15-year-olds, and then most of our tutors are going to be high schoolers, so most likely the young adult category, which is 16 to 25-year-olds. So this chart basically shows that you have to get a minimum of 100 hours to get a bronze medal, and then a minimum of 175 hours to get a silver medal, and at least 250 hours to get a gold medal. And so all of these hours have to be accumulated within a 12-month period, which is basically a year. So for us, our form is going to be due at the end of July. So you have until July 30th of each year to contact us and register for this award. Yeah. And so again, you need a minimum of 100 hours in order to apply for a medal. Yeah, and so these are just pictures of what the PVSA award looks like. So again, there's the bronze, silver, and gold medals. And then if you apply to get an award, you can also get a certificate as well, which is what it looks like. Yeah, so for logging hours, our Junior Coach Association volunteer log form is going to allow you to log volunteer hours and get them signed and approved when you email them to us. And so if you want to get the President's Volunteer Service Award, at least 75% of your hours have to come from volunteer time with Junior Coach. So that means a maximum of 25% of your hours can come from other organizations or volunteer methods outside of our organization. And so Junior Coach will be happy to provide written recommendations or sign off any volunteer forms if that's like mandatory for your school or something, or if you want to sign up for any summer programs, we'll be happy to do that as long as you're a trustworthy and reliable tutor for us.
Okay, so we're going to go through how to get hours in order to slowly work your way towards the PVSA. So our first method, which I had mentioned before, is going to be one-on-one tutoring. So everyone who signs up to become a junior coach tutor is able to choose whatever subject that they want to teach and set their own schedule whenever they want to teach. So that's our most common service. And then our second way of getting hours is going to be clubs. So when you create your own club, you dedicate a certain amount of time to preparing for the club, and then you teach that club to a group of students, and the number of hours that you spend in both preparation and teaching the club is going to both count towards your total number of hours. So it's a really effective way to earn hours. And then our third method is to become a junior coach officer. So if you show enough dedication through being a junior coach and you're confident in your capabilities as a tutor, you're going to be able to apply to become a junior coach officer and earn even more volunteer hours on top of what you've already been doing. Okay, so for our one-on-one tutoring, so once you're accepted to be a junior coach tutor, you can set your schedule as you like and decide what topics you would like to teach. So whether that be English or math or science. So anyone is able to book for your tutoring sessions as they become available. So lessons are generally going to be about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on your availability and personal preference. So then you get the opportunity to teach a variety of age groups. So most of our tutees are particularly elementary and middle schoolers. So you get to teach a lot of different kinds of students. And so our requirement is a minimum of 2 hours of tutoring in a month. So that means that you can either space it out, so you can do maybe 30 minutes per week, and then for a total of 4 weeks per month, that can total up to 2 hours. Or if you really want, you can get that 2 hours over with within like a day or so. Okay, and there's just some pictures of some of our students in a tutoring session with our tutors. And so as you can see through Zoom, you can learn about geometry or English or even maybe the piano or the flute through our tutoring sessions. Okay, so we're going to talk very briefly about our one-on-one tutoring experience. So for me, I had a lot of subjects open for people to choose, but mostly they decided to choose to learn about reading and writing with me. So I taught mostly elementary and middle schoolers, and I've been through quite a few rotations of students, so I got to interact with a lot of different people.
Yeah, and for me, ever since I started tutoring, I got to teach a variety of subjects like science, English, and math. And that included like algebra 1 and geometry. And so I think the most rewarding thing for me was that I got to form long-term bonds with my students because some of them have stuck with me for around a year already.
All right, so here's our second method, which we discussed earlier, which is going to be our junior coach clubs. So clubs, first of all, are one of the main sources of funding for junior coach, and all that money that we get from clubs goes to improving our management and revamping our website, because our website is currently going through a revamp right now. So basically, what a club is we're focused on teaching one specific subject to a small group of students. And so the subject can be pretty much anything. It could be math, it could be creative writing, it could be art. I think I've seen some other topics like golf. So the tutors can set the number of students that attend their class, maximum number of students, and they can also set the times that they're going to teach the class. So it's kind of up to your own schedule, how you want to set that up. And so junior coach is going to be the one that promotes the club for you in advance before your club starts. And so, as I said before, when you prepare and you teach for the club, that all those hours go to are going to contribute to your total number of volunteer hours. All right, so here are some example flyers of some of the clubs that we've had in the past. And so the one on the left is a Chinese picture book reading lesson club. And then the one on the right is a beginner's digital art class club. And so you can see that there's a really wide range of topics that you're able to teach with clubs. And so these students, they are the ones who created these flyers themselves to kind of advertise for their club. But if you become a tutor and you are not able to make your own flyer, junior coach can do that for you. So you're basically responsible for teaching club, but promotion is all for yourself is not needed, really. All right, so I'll talk about my club experience because I'm the one who has done a couple of clubs. So I've done 2 clubs, and the first one is an algebra club, and the second one was a pre-algebra club. And so for each of them, I use Google Classroom as kind of a way to organize the homework and the notes that I put on there to allow students to get as much out of my lessons as possible. And so the clubs really allow for a really flexible schedule. So your classes could be weekly or they could be daily. So for my algebra club, I had it go for about 10 weeks. And then for my pre-algebra club, I had it go for only 6 days. And so these clubs, I think, were a really good way to earn hours because usually for me, on average, one lesson, to prepare for one lesson, it took about 4 to 5 hours because you have to make the notes, the homework, and the answer keys, and then upload all of that to Google Classroom and everything. So it was about 4 hours per class. So totaling it times 10 is going to be about 40 hours just for one class.
Yeah, so if all of this sounds interesting to you, you can apply and become a junior coach. So these are just some of the general guidelines that we look for in all of our tutors. So you obviously have to be knowledgeable in whatever subject or topic that you want to teach. And you have to know how to communicate with students and their families through emails or messaging. And then, of course, you have to be able to listen and answer questions during tutoring sessions and be caring, supportive, and patient with your students. And so, again, most of the students are going to be in elementary to middle school, but so you'll want to be able to teach students that are both younger or maybe in the same grade level as you. And all our tutors have to be at least in 8th grade and at most in college.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the leadership positions that you can earn while in junior coach. So because our tutoring requires a lot of leadership, organization, and mentorship skills, we want to kind of help apply that to our officer positions. And hopefully we'll nurture a new generation of young tutors. So you can get the chance to serve on the junior coach board if you're dedicated enough. And Nikki's going to talk about some of our officer positions on the next slide.
Yeah, so these are our junior coach officer positions. Again, the best way to show your dedication is through making as many clubs as you can and just tutoring as much as possible. So on this slide, it shows the president, and there's 4 types of vice presidents for different that manage different sectors. And so these positions are generally going to be for people or tutors who have stuck with us for a longer period of time, so they might have more experience. So the president is the person who manages and reviews student and tutor applications, and they're in charge of overseeing the junior coach chapters. And then the vice president of operations will make the flyers for the clubs, manage the emails, and sign volunteer log forms for tutors. And the marketing vice president is going to be the one who promotes our clubs and the organization in general through writing articles and creating advertisements. And then the vice president of athletics just coordinates sport-related activities for students. And the vice president of technology is going to be the person who manages our website and edits video and uploads videos to YouTube and manages our official Instagram and Facebook accounts. Yeah, and then these ones on this side are going to be for tutors or newer people who might not have too much experience being with our organization yet, but they're still interested in enhancing their leadership skills. So we have a treasurer who's in charge of coming up with our fundraising plans, and they're going to keep track of funds. So these funds can come from annual membership fees, which our students pay at the beginning of the year, and clubs, which do cost some money to, again, help manage and revamp our website, and then just through general donations. And then we have operations manager and officer, which just assists the vice president of operations with managing all our emails. And then the marketing officer is going to work with the vice president of marketing to promote clubs, and the technology officer will assist the vice president of technology to manage social media. So yeah, again, these are for newer people, but again, if you work hard enough and show enough dedication, you can potentially rise up the ranks, and maybe in a few months or a year or two, you can also become a vice president.
All right, so thanks for listening. And if you want to learn more about us, you can go to our new website, which is going to be juniorcoach.org. Or if you want to reach us on Instagram at JuniorCoachGolf, or if you have any additional questions after this webinar, you may email us info@juniorcoach.org. So Nikki is going to answer some questions that we got before our webinar. And then after she's done, we'll open a floor to questions, and you can either type them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and ask. But first of all, Nikki.
Yeah, so we got a few questions beforehand. So the first one just says, if I already volunteered for another organization, will you count these hours along with the ones from your organization when submitting for the presidential award? And yes, as we said earlier, just a maximum of 75% of your hours have to come from tutoring with us, but a maximum of 25 can come from other organizations, or a minimum of 75%. Yeah. And then this one says, does your organization have a specific time of the year for submissions, or is it year round? So if you're talking about applying for the President's Volunteer Service Award, again, that we do require you to submit your application by July 30th of every year. But if you're talking about just becoming a tutor in general, then we can accept applications year round. Yeah, and then this one says, is there a minimum or maximum amount of service hours required to tutor? So again, you just need at least 2 hours of tutoring a month if you're doing like the one-on-one tutoring. We don't have like a maximum number of hours you're allowed to teach for, but if you want to get a PVSA award, then you need a minimum of 100 hours in a year's period. And then this one says, is everything online, or are some categories such as sports in person? So originally, this organization, which is Junior Coach Golf Association, it started out as just an organization for tutors to teach young children golf. But ever since the pandemic hit, we started doing academic tutoring virtually. So since COVID isn't completely over yet, we're continuing to suspend like in-person golf lessons. But if you have prior golf experience and you would like to become a golf tutor, then we'll let you know when we continue the golf lessons. Yeah. So if you have any other questions, you can ask. So we have like in our program, we already have like students who are like, there's a lot of students in our program already. It's this question is asking how and where do you find students, or if you're supposed to find students on your own. So yeah, there's already a lot of students that are part of our program. So you don't have to go out and like actively search to find your own students. But yeah, if you know students are interested in joining our program, then they can join. But otherwise, if you apply to become a tutor, students will just actively apply and ask you to be their tutor.
Are there any more questions? You can go ahead and ask. Okay, if not, you can always email us if you have any additional questions at info@juniorcoach.org. Otherwise, we can end a little bit early. All right, thank you for attending.
Yeah, bye. And again, like all the information is going to be on our new website. It's not entirely done yet, but if you have any general questions, you can check there.